Tim is a science teacher at Riverwood School, and he's planning on taking his students on a field trip to the local space center. Looking for a better way to collect approvals from the parents, Tim is going to create and deploy a web form using Acrobat, Adobe Express, and Adobe Acrobat Sign. Starting in Adobe Acrobat, you'll notice I can click on Edit and stylize this PDF. Now this will take the document and load it into the Adobe Express application. And Express will offer some suggestions for a theme which will include colors and font. But in this case, I will bypass their suggestions because I want to apply my own corporate brand. So I'll click on Continue here. And immediately once the document is loaded, you'll see that there'll be a shortcut menu over here on the right that includes some of the most common actions that you would do when stylizing the PDF. So applying a color theme, adding shapes or icons, changing the background color. But if I go over to brands and I'll go into my Riverwood brand, I have a button at the top that says Apply Brand. Now what that'll do is it'll apply the approved fonts for that brand and also apply a color palette, which I can toggle through that color palette. This will apply different backgrounds and font colors for my document. But let's go into the media or elements area over here on the left, and I'm going to go into background and search for sky. And instead of using a solid color background, I will just put an image in the background, and I think that looks a lot better. Next, let's go back to our brand and into our assets where we have some approved headers and footers for these documents. I'll add a header, move that into position and size it. That looks good. I'll go back to brand and I'll find my footer, do the same thing. Nudge that into position. And then lastly, what I'll do is add some embellishments. This could be icons, shapes, but I'm going to go into photos. These are powered by Adobe Stock, and I'm going to search for a rocket and see if I can find a rocket to put on my Space Center field trip web form. So here's a nice rocket. I need to remove that background, and using the power of AI, I can do a simple one click and remove that background. Now I'll just size this image and place it where I want, maybe rotate it. Once you decided on a nice position for that, I think we're done and we have a stylized PDF. So let's save this document to a location. In this case, I'm going to choose OneDrive, and I'll put this into a folder on OneDrive. I'll give it a name, and I'll make sure I'm saving it as a PDF and upload that file into OneDrive. So now that PDF has been stylized, we can switch over to Acrobat Sign, and I'll click on this web form, publish a web form button, where I'll then go, of course, and grab my document that I just saved to OneDrive. You'll see that once I navigate in there, you can see here there's our JSC permission slip, and it was just created a few seconds ago. We'll preview the document, and again, using the power of AI, Acrobat Sign will detect that this document has what appears to be fields on it and ask you if you want to place those automatically generated fields on the document, which it does. And you can see here, I can then open up each one of these fields and edit it, maybe give it a name. Here, I'll make it required as well. And then click OK. Now I'll want to do that for each one of my fields. But once you're completed with enhancing those fields, setting the names, we can click on Save, and Acrobat Sign will give us a preview of what your web form looks like. There, it looks pretty good. And most importantly here, you'll see that it also gives you a URL. Now this URL can be sent out to the parents via email or published to a web page. And that would look like this. Here's a web page that we've taken that URL, and here's the permission slip button. We click on it. This is the parent filling in the form. We can see that this is now in Acrobat Sign. They can go ahead and start filling in their student name. So here we'll put in James Smith, grade 9, homeroom teacher, emergency contact information, and phone number. Child first name here again. And then we'll go ahead and we'll sign this document. And when we go to sign it, this is Jane Smith, the parent. She can go in and scribble her signature. If this is on a mobile device, you could use your finger, type in your name, and click on apply. Now, because this is a web form, we need a way to authenticate. So in this case, Jane would be required to put in her email address and click on the sign button, and that'll send an email to her inbox where she'll need to confirm that that is indeed who she is. And so what that looks like once all of the parents have gone in and signed their documents, Tim, the teacher, can go into his Adobe Acrobat dashboard, go into web forms, and we can see everybody who's signed that document. You can see here Jane just signed moments ago. And we could also go in and download all of the form data that was collected in those fields and then open that up in Microsoft Excel for further processing.